This Friday live on Channel 5, it's European bragging rights as Abass Baraou takes on Sam Eggington here in Telford. We're joined by Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, it's fight week. It's rolled around again. We love it, don't we?
Telford, a place of much history, boxing history, Team Sauerland boxing history, before Team Sauerland became Wasserman. In fact, 25 years ago, Marcus Beyer, the late, great Marcus Beyer, won the World Championship here in Telford against Richie Woodall. WBC Super Middleweight World Championship. I remember the night well. It was a mad atmosphere, crazy atmosphere. So steeped in rich boxing history, here we are 25 years later, back with an absolute banger live on Channel 5 in the UK, on DAZN all around the world, on I think a main event that certainly is a real throwback fight, but for mainstream sports fans, hopefully tuning in on terrestrial television, you've got that narrative, don't you? Germany, England, European Championship, Abass Baraou, that very slick, finds a shot, lands it, and looks to take you out of there, boxer. Not making any comparisons to the German national football team. And then you've got sort of Sam Eggington, heart on his sleeve, forwards, reverse. No, not even on the register. A guy who's won Fight of the Year twice, and he's only 30 years old. So you know that this is going to be a night which is going to be a great advertisement for boxing.
He was speaking about it before, Sam, saying he only knows plan A, doesn't work on a plan B. He wants to get in, he wants to be on the motorway home within 15 minutes. Abass is going to be facing those boos. It's that kind of cauldron atmosphere.
Yeah, and it's that cauldron atmosphere, and the fighters couldn't be any different. Abass Baraou has won a bronze medal in the World Championships as an amateur, has trained with some absolutely amazing amateur coaches, then professional coaches. Uli Wegner in Germany, coach of Arthur Abraham, to Marcus Beyer, who I mentioned before as well. Sven Otka, an absolute superstar trainer. I think a 10 world champions, something like that. And then I trained with Adam Booth. He's got so much pedigree. And then you've got Sam, who, like you said, tactics are one thing. I'm coming for a tear up, and I'm going to have it. And that is already intriguing as a storyline, So we know that we're in for a real treat.
Abass, we spoke to yesterday, recently signed to join, to extend his stay with Wasserman, and he was saying the reason I wanted to stay was we've started a mission. I want to finish it. It starts here on Friday, European titles. It moves on to world titles. I wanted that. Nissa and Kalle wanted that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he's, the German boxing situation at the moment is terrible. It's terrible. It's gone from 10, 12 world champions to zero, to nothing like on the radar that's remotely exciting. Big nights in Germany. It was the first time last year we didn't promote a single event in Germany. We promoted 27 events around the world last year, and not a single one in Germany. That's the first time in almost 40 years that's happened. So that says something about it. There's only a few people, I'd say. Two of them were with us. I think Agit Kabayel is also a big heavyweight prospect. I think he did very well in December on the Saudi show. But for us, it's Abass Baraou, who's always been touted as the guy to bring back the big nights to Germany. And of course, Dennis Ranavan, who's in a great position with the IBF in the middleweight division, fighting a final eliminator. So that's really it in German boxing right now. So it's about, will one of these come off? And Abass has got a fantastic platform to do this on Friday night. Like I said, live on DAZN in Germany, in the UK on Channel 5. if he beats Sam Eggington, also in the UK, suddenly there's some really interesting fights that suddenly open up for him. His name will certainly soar on Friday. And, Sam will be looking at it exactly the same way. He'll be looking at it for, hey, nick a European title here, couple of million viewers in the bank as well, and he's on a bit greener pastures, so there's a lot at stake here.
Said it himself earlier. You mentioned Dennis Radovan there. Let's just have a quick mention on Dennis. We were due to see him in Sunderland last year. The fight didn't go ahead. Are there plans to get Dennis out as soon as we can?
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully in May, the fight. We're just waiting for final confirmations. But yeah, no, that's the fight that will ultimately be the fight for the right, and that's for the world title. So yeah, that's potentially another big German storyline, but one after another. We'll deal with this weekend first. One
at a time. Sticking on the theme of Wasserman fighters, and particularly fighters close to Abass, one fighter that he is close with is Harlem Eubank. We've seen Harlem go through the gears to some extent since signing with Wasserman 18 months ago, maybe longer now. Just talk to us a little bit about where Harlem is at the moment.
I think Harlem will be here this weekend, so we'll definitely have a sit down with him. I think the fight that we'd like to make is Lewis Ritson. That's a fight that I think Harlem likes as well. Lewis Ritson's certainly in on it as well. I think it just is a great storyline. I know there's a lot of talk around other fights. I know that seniors mentioned Conor Benn, and I think that's a great fight that can be built to as well. But I think right now it's about building on that clout in the UK, and then going to the next level in terms of event by event, to eventually fill that Amex Arena down in Brighton. That's the goal, and hopefully with a world title. But there's a roadmap to a goal, and we'd like to step out with Lewis Ritson. I know that the Dan Aziz versus Dalton Smith fight is talked about a lot in that division at the moment. It's a cracking fight. It looks like it's going ahead. Certainly they're in negotiations, and I think there's a purse bid that's due in a couple of weeks' time. So that's terrific for British boxing. But I'd also say at the same time, you go down the road and ask people, do they know Adam Azim, Dalton Smith, or Harlem Eubank? I put a bet on that Harlem Eubank's name comes up more often than not as the most recognisable name there. He's last year twice Channel 5, 3 times on Channel 5 with over 2 million viewers. So that he's got the clout in terms of the name. Now I'm aware that people will say, well, that's got nothing to do with boxing, but no, it does have something to do with boxing. It's got to do with putting on big nights for boxing, which pays the fight as well. And I think Adam Azim fighting Dalton Smith's great, and the winner of that can go on and fight Harlem Eubank. And people say, well, hold on, the winner of that should go on and fight for a world title. I said, no, well, steady on. Everyone's got a career to go through, and everyone's get paid well. Well, let them fight Harlem Eubank. He's the gatekeeper. He's got the name in the UK, and from that point on, we can see who goes on to challenge for world honours. But it is commercial, and right now Harlem Eubank carries the cards. He's got the name.
Harlem Eubank, I agree, is that name. It is a recognisable name. It is starting to get that exposure. But the Lewis Ritson fight is almost in a similar sense to the Abass fight here. It opens up even more eyeballs in the British public. People know Lewis Ritson.
It's about raising the name to raise the clout. How often does a boxer get paid on his name more than his talent? Now I'm not saying that's the right thing. It doesn't last for long. You get found out. Now Harlem, what people don't know is who like to shoot down Harlem, he's just got the name. No, that's complete rubbish. Go and look at the way Harlem's last fights have gone against very good opposition, even getting better every time. He's a fantastic talent. He hasn't got the pedigree, the amateur pedigrees of maybe Mr. Razim and Mr. Dalton Smith, who are both fantastic boxers. Take nothing away from them right now.
in
but
their
at
own
the same
lane,
time,
they're doing amazing.
Yeah, but amazing, and they're both very, very likable guys and great for the sport. But again, they are fighting each other. So Harlem is not. It's not a three-way fight. It's not misfits boxing. So it's not. That's not happening right now. So we're looking at what fight is going to generate a great interest, and I think Lewis Ritson is a big name in the UK space, and that's a great fight to make. Again, it might end up being someone else. I'm just saying that's a fight that I'd like to make.
Sticking around again, Abass Wasserman connections while we're here. We spent some time with Abass yesterday, and I almost didn't want to put him on the spot about a specific name, and he spoke to me about it off camera. He said almost every other media outlet is asking me about Josh Kelly at the moment because close friends, been in the camps together, they know each other very, very well, but ultimately they're in the same weight class, they're both moving forward. I'm not going to put you on the spot and say could we see Abass and Josh, but with Josh, doing very well on his own road at the moment, where do we see Josh next?
Could we see it? I'm sure down the road, if they stay at the same weight class, we will see it. Is it a fight that I want to make within our stable at the moment? Absolutely not. But if public demand or the fighters demand it, then I haven't really got a choice. I haven't got a say in the matter. So I'll keep them as part as long as I can. But I think they get on very well. I think they're all right with each other. So I don't see any beef suddenly turning up there. But these things happen very quickly. And at the same time, if one of them has championship belts and the other one wants it, they're not going to say, just because we train in the same ring in a gym sometimes. At least they've sparred together, they'll know each other very well. I actually wasn't privileged to any of those sparring sessions, so I can't even tell you how they looked or anything. So, but at the same time, everyone's on their course, and those courses, of course, at some stage can come together.
A lot of names saying they want Josh Kelly, of course. Now, it's not Abass saying he wants him. He was asked the question, but a lot of people linking a lot of names. You mentioned Conor Benn before. Conor Benn, Josh Kelly, constantly going back on social media. We've heard Eubank Jr. named. We've heard Kell Brook named. There's a lot of people who are interested in Josh Kelly. Is there any direction for Josh at the moment?
I disagree. So I see a lot of people talking about Josh Kelly, but let's talk straight here. Josh Kelly is a very, very dangerous fight for anyone, right? It's a very risky fight.
Yeah.
Now, Josh is, let's say, world ranking is fantastic. His name is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. But right now, if you did a fight with, a name like Conor Benn, the leverage in the negotiation will probably be weighted towards Conor Benn.
Yeah.
So the danger is for the Conor Benns and whoever else it is once Josh, wins titles, which by the way these other names haven't done, and Josh is number one in the world at the moment. Then they're suddenly going to be paid less from taking that risky fight with Josh, and so. At the moment, it's an interesting place because Josh Kelly's talent is 100% feared by a lot of people who've been around the scene for a while, especially in the UK, because they know how good he is, and that doesn't make it the most attractive fight ever, does it?
I hear you. Moving away from this fight and that camp at the moment, for the moment, we saw a fight almost happen, spoken about a lot, but we never really got the chance to hear from you publicly about it. Breidis, Opetaia, Breidis, the rematch, numero dos. Was it going to be on the undercard of Fury Usyk? Do we want to see it? Can we see it? Just moving away from Telford for a moment.
And quite rightly so. It's a fantastic fight. Great to be the co-feature to Usyk Fury, Fury Usyk, which is a fantastic, undisputed heavyweight champion. It's almost crazy.
Once in a generation fight.
Hear those words. So that's fantastic. But in this fight, Breidis Opetaia does exactly what it says on the tin. Go back, watch the first fight, and it's one of the craziest fights you'll see, just from the fact that the first 6 rounds, you've got Opetaia shocking Breidis, first time in his professional career, 3-time world champion, World Boxing Super Series winner, on the floor.
Yep.
You know, it just wasn't at the races. Breidis was not there. The first 6 rounds was horrendous. It was probably the worst 6 rounds you've ever seen Breidis in. The second 6 rounds, Opetaia at this stage is looking like the absolute new superstar of the division. The second 6 rounds, you know, it's like the return of the lion, and there's Breidis absolutely battering him, pillar to post, breaking almost every bone in his body. That's
every bone in his face. Certainly.
That's let's say a generic term, but ultimately he's standing KO twice in that second 6 rounds. In fact, if Breidis takes a step back, the fella falls straight on his face. You know, it was a real job he put on him. So you've seen both really have the other guy in that fight. So it's almost like this is Breidis Opetaia Part 3. It's fascinating, and it's you know, just delighted it's on such a big platform as well in Saudi, where the big things are going on at the moment. Co-feature to the biggest fight in a very long time in boxing. So yeah, you're gonna have a lot of eyeballs on it, and you know, people saying, "Oh, what's Myra's got left in the tank?" Let's not forget that Breidis Opetaia first fight, Breidis had the second after the fight, not the first after the fight. So the age factor, let's not bring that into it too much.
Staying in Saudi then, I guess for the moment. Last time we were in Saudi, we were there for Lyndon Arthur, who was up against Dimitri Bivol. Brave performance, didn't go his way on the night. We can analyse that fight another time, I guess. Lyndon cryptically posting things on social, fight news coming soon, pending. What's the pending news? Are we allowed to explore that rabbit hole?
Well, first of all, Lyndon's had a well-deserved break. He took the fight quite short notice, but we're not making any excuses here. Bivol, one of the best boxers on planet Earth right now. Fantastic performance, and Lyndon had his moment. You know, Lyndon had his moment. I don't think he read the moment too well during the fight, but if we go back and look at it, he had his moment when he stuns him and he doesn't jump on him. Yeah. If it's a lesser boxer against him, you know, maybe he would have. It was a bit too much respect at that moment. You know, he hurt his man and he didn't capitalise on it. But apart from that, you know, it was a night where he would have learned a lot. Let's put it that way. And he'll come back stronger from that. And yeah, not quite there yet to do the announcement, but he will be in the next few months. He will be out in the UK again.
Final mention on a Wasserman perspective, talking of belts, talking of titles in-house, talking specifically about European titles. Chloe Watson, we saw her last time out. Any updates on Chloe when we can see Chloe back in the ring?
Look, Chloe had a fantastic end of the year. I don't think any of us could have dreamed that it would go that quickly, that we'd capture a European title. But hey, hungry for more. Let's roll on the world title this year. You know, let's push that. I think this is it's such a great journey with her. She's improved so much. You know, Ricky Hatton and his team have done fantastic work with her. The way she has developed has now reaped the rewards. European Championship, and I'm pretty sure we can deliver that world title shot later this year as well, hopefully.
Whistle Stop's tour of Wasserman boxers there, and the camp, we've gone around them quite quickly. We've got to end it where we started it, really, back here in Telford. You're the promoter, stable name in the British promoting scene. How do you sum up this fight in one sentence and why we should watch on Friday night?
I'm going to go European Championship, England versus Germany, live on Channel 5 and on DAZN around the world.
Doesn't get any better than that. England versus Germany live on Channel 5 and DAZN around the world this Friday here in Telford. It's Baraou versus Eggington. Kalle, thank you.
Thank you.